A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to today's news analysis. We are doing the Indian Express papers Chandigarh edition and today is 19th of September. Today's newspaper starts with the world section, thereby you see this page. Let me briefly tell you some of the topics that we are covering. So one is of course something to do with Israel, so that we will see. Besides this, there is cabinet clearance for Kovind's panel report on simultaneous elections. Briefly, we will see. I'll make a detailed video on the same subject. And further, I have very exhaustive notes on the same. So, yeah, that should suffice. Besides this, there is this agriculture policy announced for the state of Punjab. Now, of course, this is of course with regards to the state of Punjab, but for a nation as a whole, also we get a lot of ideas as to how to prepare issues and challenges, etc. Then augmentation of the space program, right? Indigenous space station, Gaganyaan program, all that we will briefly know about it. Then there is PM Asha scheme in the news. This is for agriculture sector. Now let us go one by one with the news articles. So first of all, we see some tension commotion that is taking place in Lebanon. Lebanon is to the north of Israel if you look at the atlas. Here is the map of Middle East where we see Israel, and on top of it is Lebanon, north of it actually. Now in the Lebanon, there is this militant organization known as Hezbollah, which is sponsored by Iran. So let me write this thing, Israel over here, so we get the map in a way. Okay. So is Hezbollah and Israel are adversary. Now, what happened yesterday or day before yesterday? Israel planted a series of bombs in Lebanon. What they did was they procured some pagers, some 5,000 pager machines, in which they planted low intensity bombs. These pagers were to be bought by the Hezbollah, right? And series of bomb blasts took place. So as per the morning news that I saw, there was 12 killed and 2,800 wounded. So that's it. Now, this of course means intensification of rivalries between Hezbollah, Israel, etc. Israel says this is a new phase of war. You keep firing rockets on us, so now take this. It's something like that. President Biden says that there is going to be escalation, more tensions between these countries, which is not good. So that's it. As far as India is concerned, for India, it again complicates as we are friends with Iran, we are friends with Israel, plus Palestinian is the homeland for the Arabs. So Arab-India relations may also get affected because of this. In fact, in today's news, we will cover later, or in fact, I can tell you right away. So there is this United Nations General Assembly. There was a resolution to be passed on Israel and the Palestinian conflict. India abstains to vote from it. So India didn't vote on it because it may affect Israel relations or it may affect the Arab relations. So it complicates these matters. And this is, of course, a very important theme for your GS2 mains paper, IR section. Let's move ahead. Now we are discussing the idea of simultaneous elections. Simultaneous election is a very simple concept. You see, in India, we have state assembly elections, right? There are various states. So we have these assembly elections. And then we have the Lok Sabha elections. For instance, the recently held elections by which we have the Prime Minister and the union government, etc. So many a times what happens is Lok Sabha elections take place across the country. Then on a different date, there is the assembly elections taking place. So of course, it is a logistical challenge since the idea is that if we are having the Lok Sabha elections as a whole, why don't we infuse the state elections also, because the same resources are being utilized? Why can't we have the same combination of this? So this will lead to a lot of savings So in that sense, it will be a good idea. So less security personnel being deployed around the time elections, around the year elections are taking place. So this leads to creation of the model code of conduct. So developmental works gets compromised. Politics takes precedence over development. So number of ways we can see this topic. Okay. So Prime Minister Modi has been a vocal, he's been very vocal about the need for a simultaneous election or one nation, one election. So for this purpose, a committee was formed, Kovind panel, the former president of this country. So they have given recommendations and that has been cleared by the cabinet. So all it says is there should be simultaneous elections. We knew that they will say this. Then the simultaneous election should be in such a way that Lok Sabha and all state assemblies combined. Earlier it was felt ki half the states and then half the states after 2.5 years. They are saying all the state assembly elections will take place and later and within 100 days local body elections shall also be taking place. Panchayati elections shall also be taking place. Okay, so that's the proposal. Now what happens if any state assembly does not have a majority or there is a breakdown of the mandate? For instance, in the year 2015, when elections had taken place, nobody had a clear majority. Or once what happened was there was a majority, there was an alliance party. The alliance, one of the party members joined with the opposition, so there was a change of government, whatever. If there is a breakdown, then they say that there will be a midterm election. And then again, after the completion of the 5 years and all, their term will be limited. For example, that this is the 5 year period. For instance, the 2024 to 2029, and there is a problem that took place somewhere here, 2027. If elections take place, this period would be 2 years, and this will be only for that particular state. So there'll be further more points, but this is what has been mentioned in today's news. Now, to bring this change into effect, an amendment to the constitution would have to be done. And this amendment will come under Article 368 of the Constitution. So different types of amendments are mentioned. So this will require a special case scenario wherein 2/3 members of the parliament should be present, plus there should be absolute majority. And besides this, logically, 50% of the state legislative assemblies should also have been part of it. But Kovind panel says, no, this is not required. If that condition is there, then in that case, it will be very difficult for the bill to pass. Okay, bold proposals for agrarian crisis, but implementation and funding uncertain. So let us see these points one by one, what issues have been mentioned over here. So when they say that, okay, fine, you have these very good proposals. These proposals have been made, but previously also proposals were made, but they never got implemented. So there is the reference of MS Swaminathan recommendations and Sardar Singh Johal, because we're talking about Punjab, so Sardara Singh Johal. So, okay, so the proposals you make, fine, you make, but the implementation should also be there. And in this case, also proposals are made, but necessary funds, how they will be arranged, and all those things have not been specified. So here again, lack of roadmap for implementation. So this is a concern. Now, issue number 1, farmer suicide. Fines of farmer suicide. So high number of farmer suicides are taking place, and farmer suicides take place typically when they borrow money. Farmers borrow money, and the farmers are not able to pay up. The production was not sufficient. They don't have the sufficient money, and thereby they are not able to return the money. Fine. So that is the issue. So it is concerned with debt of the farmer. So we have the suicide data up till 2018 and we are in 2024. This is problematic. And besides this, we know about the institutional debt, that is debt from the banks. But what about the non-institutional debt, the money lenders, which are not registered? Fine, so that is a problem. So it is thought that it is estimated that about 1 lakh crore of debt would be there. So this debt has been increasing over the years. Okay, so that is one thing. So the proposal is that these money lenders who are not registered should be registered if they want to lend to the farmers. And these lenders also, they use these unfair means, humiliation, etc. with farmers, and that also leads to farmer suicides. Now coming to the MSPs. So one proposal is that the MSP should be increased and it should be in line with the proposed Swaminathan report and also Ramesh Chand committee report, right? So that is there. So it should be increased. Further, it says that there are certain crops which are beyond the MSP. For that purpose, there should be some protection to the farmers. So there should be constitution of a state agricultural cost price commission. So we have this CACP, which gives recommendations for MSP. So for the central government, so for the state should be there, which should include non-MSP crops, dairy products and eggs. Okay, so that's it. Then we should work on crop diversification. So crop diversification should be worked. So in Punjab, what happens is we have Kharif season, and which is the monsoon farming, and then we have the Rabi season, winter. So during Rabi, we cultivate wheat. Now in Kharif, we cultivate paddy, which is water intensive. And because of this, groundwater depletion is taking place. So proposal is that instead of paddy, especially in the dark zones means where the water is less, water table is below 300 feet. Where is this? Or sorry, where the dark blocks where water extraction exceeds the recharge rate by 300%. So in these cases, we should have alternative crops. So we can have like wheat and cotton. Wheat and cotton has been highlighted actually, or any other vegetable that can be done. So less water intensive farming should be done. We should focus on the natural growing areas. The natural crop should be grown in those areas and not paddy. Paddy is not natural to the geography of Punjab. Now, the more fancier word would be climate smart agriculture. So that should be focused upon. Then we should work on crop insurance and land leasing. So crop insurance should be there, and it should also cover integrated farming system. Integrated farming system is simply farming, normal routine farming plus livestock combined. So that should be done. So that should also be covered into crop insurance. Land leasing should be done. So that is also there. Then Narega should be expanded to 200 days. From present 100 to, it should be mandatory to 200 days. Then free healthcare and other facilities should also be provided. Further, micro irrigation should be emphasized for the conservation of water. Further, with regards to the manure, etc., natural farming, we should be focusing on waste to energy. For example, bios CNG co-generation, that should be done, or ethanol generation. So that should be done. Then centers of excellence, and Punjab should become a seed hub. So for that purpose, there should be centers of excellence. So 13 centers of excellence have been proposed. Fine. So that's it from this particular topic. Let's move ahead. So elections are taking place, manifesto and all those things are there. Now moving on to the space program. Government has decided to augment the India space program, and it has given nod for the Venus mission and the Chandrayaan 4. Okay, so let me list the things that are there. So the moon mission is of course the Chandrayaan mission, and it says that we should have a man on moon. Fine. So astronauts on moon. And for this purpose, not mentioned in the article, we are partnering with the US under the Artemis program. Okay. Now, to have a man on moon, we will have to have a man on space. So for that, we have the Gaganyaan human spaceflight program. So with this also, the US would assist us. Then Bharatiya Antariksh Station. So on the lines of International Space Station, India should have its own space station. And they say that it will start happening from 2028 and the full-fledged station would be by 2035. Now for this to happen, because we are carrying a lot of load to the space, we need more advanced launch vehicles. So presently we have the launch vehicle known as PSLV. Then recently GSLV came to light for heavier loads. Now new generation launch vehicle. This is under development. NGLV. Now moving on to PM Asha. What is this PM Asha? So let's open the PIB for the same. Yeah, PM Asha. So Pradhan Mantri Annadata Aay Sanrakshan Abhiyan. Annadata farmers income protection initiative. Okay. So what this scheme is basically to ensure price stability. So it's an umbrella scheme in which there is, let me draw this so it will be easier. PM Asha umbrella scheme. So this will have the MSP. So farmer income being protected. It will have the price support scheme, price stabilization fund, market intervention scheme, and with MSP we have the price deficiency payment scheme. Fine. Okay. So let's first MSP. You of course know what MSP is. There is this Madhya Pradesh government came up with the idea of price deficiency payment scheme. So it's simple. Farmers are supposed to get MSP, but this scheme says that the farmer can directly sell to the markets. So they will get the market rate. Let's say the market rate is M, and so MSP minus M would be paid to the farmers through the direct benefit transfer if the market price is less than MSP. So price deficiency payment scheme. In MP, the scheme is named as Bhavantar Bhugtan Yojana. Price support scheme, price stabilization fund, these are for horticulture items or items which are not mentioned in the MSP. Not all food items are there. So for that, we have the separate schemes. Then scheme for tribal groups outlay is increased. So that scheme is Pradhan Mantri Jan Jatiya Unnat Gram Abhiyan. Okay, so again, one election, one state, what are the issues and challenges that we can do it exhaustively later. Let's focus on this article. You'll get a good insight about center-state relations, financial commission, etc. Okay. So yesterday, which I didn't upload the newspaper, so it came to light, there was this report by Economic Advisory Council to the PM, which studied the data of the respective state governments and compared it with the national GDP figures. It brought to light that certain states, it brought to light basically that the western states and the southern states, they are faring above the national average, while West Bengal and the other states over here are not faring so well. Further, there was mention of Punjab, that Punjab's share of GDP has been coming down while Haryana is on the rise. And this is more so after initially it benefited with the Green Revolution, but after that it came down. So there was a reference of the Dutch disease. Yesterday I didn't cover, so I'm telling you, Dutch disease. Dutch disease is associated with the Dutch economy, wherein Dutch industries and all those things were prospering. But once the discovery of oil and natural gas took place, the emphasis was on oil and natural gas. So because of one sector, the other sector got ignored. Likewise, it can be said that for agriculture, the other sectors have not been prioritized as much, and thereby the industrialization has been lagging in the state. Fine, so now you learn about the Dutch disease. Okay. Now coming to this west and the east, southern states. So southern states have been contributing more in terms of GDP. That also means they are being taxed higher, and money is going to the union government. For example, your GST, corporate tax, income tax, etc. Now, when the devolution of finances take place from the union to the respective states, even though the southern states have been contributing more, their share in tax divisible pool has been coming down. So it from 21.1% from 2000 2005, it has come down to 15.8%. Now, with inclusion of population as a criteria, the share of southern states in the tax divisible pool will further come down. So this is a major fault line in center-state relations, especially center and southern states relation in the recent times. Okay, I have not covered this topic, but this will be a far stretch, changes in the trends of Indian politics and rise of image centric professionalism or image centric leaders in the recent times. Modi, Kejriwal, right? So, image centric rather than party centric. So, that can be a theme that we can look to prepare. India abstains from UNGA vote on Israel. We've discussed this. Next, Indian oil PSU's dividend stuck in Russia. Okay, simple. Russia, Ukraine war takes place. Oil has become expensive. Russia says nobody is buying from us. Why don't you? We will sell it to India at a very discounted price. Further, Russia is a big country with a lot of gas reserves, oil reserves, and India needs it. So Indian companies have been investing in different Russian sites. Right? Now, when the investments are being made, naturally some earnings would also be taking place, so dividends. But these dividends are stuck in Russia. We are not able to utilize it. This is now ballooned to $900 million. So that's it. Again, a very important theme over here. This is about Mines Ministry to set up Project Monitoring Unit or PMU. So you see in India, we have a lot of these requirement for mines like copper, gold, nickel, oil. Now, many of these mines are auctioned. But what has come to light, for example, 404 have been auctioned in 2015, but only 50 non-coal mineral mines have become operational. So, despite having the resources and despite having the prospects, we have to import minerals, which is not good for the economy. So we have already have the resources, but still we have to import. So for that purpose, several project monitoring units would be there, which would monitor the mines and the progress that have taken place. A review and modifications of the Indus Water Treaty. An explainer is there. Okay, so what is Indus Water Treaty? So you see, we have this Indus River, and there are these west flowing rivers, and then the rivers certain that which are flowing towards the Indian side. So right. So let me just show you the rivers. So we have the eastern rivers, Beas, Ravi, Satluj, and the western rivers, Indus, Chenab, Jhelum. So Indus, which is common to both the countries. So there was an agreement that took place, which was brokered by the World Bank. And this was in 1960, right? So after 9 years of negotiation, and it was decided that the western rivers would flow to Pakistan, but some rights are there with India, for example, hydel, etc. But only they cannot store this water. While these rivers, which are east flowing, they can be diverted more towards the Indian side. Otherwise, everything flows into the Arabian Sea, right, for India's own consumption. Now, as a whole, if we see, India has got only 30% of the water, while Pakistan gets 70%. So even though it actually originates from India. So that's a problem, and that's why India wants to revisit this. Further, India has these dams and hydel projects, which it is permitted rightfully on the Jhelum and the Chenab River, the Kishan Ganga project and Ratle hydroelectric project. These are often there in the news, so keep in mind. So Pakistan opposes them that India is diverting it. we should go to a, we should have a separate body, we should have a neutral expert, we should have a permanent court of arbitration, etc., etc. Whereas that is not the mechanism established by the Indus Water Treaty. So India wants to revisit it. In fact, as far as my idea is, India wants to revisit it to put more pressure on Pakistan. And this issue has come to light more often after this Uri attack, Uri and the Pulwama attacks. Indus Water Treaty has been emphasized. In fact, even if we look at the eastern rivers also, we have not been able to really harness those rivers, and most of the river still flows towards Pakistan, even though it is allocated for India. Okay, so that's it from today's news analysis. Thank you.